Um, on the Greatest Hits album, in I think it came out near the end of '96, which that's another thing I want to ask you about is in the near the end of '96, Death Row had a lot of releases in a short time span. So it had Machiavelli, The Dogfather, Death Row's Greatest Hits, and Christmas on Death Row. Before I get into my question about the greatest hits, can you explain why there were so many releases in such a short time span at the end of that year?
That's when, like I told y'all before, we went to New York. We came straight from filming that whack ass video in Paris. Remember, me, Suge, and Michelle, we all threw, and Ron Bilal, the barber. We all flew in from Paris, from the hung jury video shoot on a private plane straight to New York. That was sometime in August of '96, and that's when Suge signed that big new deal with MCA, Doug Morris and them. And that's when he got that $20 million guaranteed a year deal, which was like $1.5 million monthly that he was guaranteed to get. Plus, they paid for everything, and then we recoup the balance after everything was paid for. And so, but when you do a deal like that, you got to put out stuff. And back in the day, you put everything out in the fourth quarter that you really want to sell. Fourth quarter starts October the 1st. October, November, December, January. That's when y'all know all your majors start coming out. Back in the day, I don't know how it is now, because my girl Beyonce just dropped the album last week and we in the summer. That was really unheard of. But all your major albums came out around Christmas time. Because everybody out there shopping. Now, we got different ways of buying stuff now, streaming and all of that, so the game is different. But back in the 90s, you dropped everything in the fourth quarter, and the third quarter, second quarter is when all your albums that you're just trying to blow somebody up, you put out. First quarter, you didn't want to do that. None of y'all had your income taxes yet, so y'all wasn't going to run to the store to buy anything. So if you drop something in the first quarter, you really weren't trying to win. But yeah, so you dropping stuff in the fourth quarter. Y'all say, well, shit, y'all dropped Pac in the first quarter. Well, that was Tupac. He had Me Against the World out, and that was Tupac. But it was a double CD as well. But if he would have dropped that in the fourth quarter, that album could have been done in December. Would have sold a lot more than what he did sell, because that's back in the day how we used to spend our money. October, November, December were the spending money dates. After the 1st of January, Miles and Fox didn't give you no money, you didn't spend no money in that time. Until when? February, March, when the income tax start coming back. That's when they start spending again. But yeah.
Okay, for the Greatest Hits album, I always wondered this. Ice Cube's No Vaseline is on the Greatest Hits, and clearly it's not a Death Row song, so I didn't know if you knew how that was able to be finagled.
Because look who's the distributor on the back. Priority Records. Who was Suge hating more than anybody then? Dr. Dre. It's a diss on the Dre. It's distributed by Priority. Y'all look on Gridlock and Gang related soundtracks. Who's all on no albums? Dub C, Dr. Dre artists. I'm sorry. The Priority artists. Ice Cube. People like that. So when you're in business with distributors like that, they allow you to put stuff out on your album like that because it's also helping them sell money. But Priority Records distribute Death Row Greatest Hits, and Suge was able, him and Brian probably still to this day have a great relationship. Brian Turner, they always had a great relationship. Jimmy and Brian had a great relationship, working relationship. The only one that Suge really always had a problem with was this dude named Scott Harrison over at Interscope and Tom Wally. They didn't really care for Suge. But David Cohen, Steve Berman, Gangsta Steve, who's running Interscope now, and Jimmy, Step Johnson, he loved them to death. Yep.
Okay. Because also on Greatest Hits, there were like Tupac songs from the Interscope days, like I Get Around and, other ones like that. So I was just curious about the Greatest Hits.
Interscope. Plus, Suge had the right in the contract. Did y'all read the contract? He had control over all that. Now they end up giving it back to the mother. If y'all look at the contract from the prison. I know y'all don't want to believe it because y'all believe the groupie and all of that. But in that contract, if Pac wouldn't have got out, that's what Suge was going to do to generate money for Pac. He was going to start doing some remixes and some stuff on that, and Pac had to sit in jail another 2 years. So Pac could generate and make some money. But that's too deep for y'all in the groupie. So I don't even get into all of that. But that's what was going down, y'all. John, please put up that paperwork so they know what the hell I'm talking about. So this is what was going to happen if Suge wasn't able to get Pac out. Suge had control over all of that stuff then. Pac had gave him permission to have control over all of that if he didn't get out of prison. Because he needed money. Yeah.